Hello, everyone who joined this session. I don't know if I leave a little bit more minutes for everyone to join because I'm going to explain the format for tonight. Okay, I'll just explain basically. So thank you everyone who joined this session and who's going to be listening to our different speakers today. So today's French Tech Connect was prepared in collaboration with Freya from Pacemakers. So the subject that we're going to explore tonight is going to be about the French startup ecosystem and how we can evolve in there and what opportunities you guys can find in this ecosystem. And so we've selected very interesting speakers for tonight. Freya is going to explain more about them in a minute. On my side, I'm just the coordinator for the French Tech Seoul, and for tonight, we're using Aymeric, so the session will be separated in 2 times. So at the beginning, we're going to have a discussion with the speakers, and you can start asking questions. On the side, right side of your screen, if you can see, there's a chat, and there's a question section where you can react to what the speakers are saying, and we're going to try and answer as best as possible. And after we finish this speaker session, we're going to have an online networking meeting where you're going to have the possibility of joining people on virtual tables where you can ask maybe more free format questions or just have discussions, have a chat. You know, we're all craving for interaction, so I guess it will be a good opportunity for everyone. So yeah, Isabelle is writing the different ways that you can ask and react to the talk that we're going to have. I'm going to pass the mic to Freya so that she can explain more about our goals tonight and what we're going to, the subjects we're going to speak about. And thank you again for joining.
Yeah, so thank you for this. Yeah, I'm Freya, and I'm a business developer and working for Korean Accelerator Pacemakers. And yeah, again, so thank you for coming here, and thank you for attending French Tech Seoul event. Yes, I can see compared with last 5 years in startup scene, there are so many more Korean government grant program out there, especially taught to the global market for startups. So today, we are gonna talk for K-Startup Global Center program in terms of the French market and also furthermore the EU market or also more global. So we brought the great panels from KISED, HTC, and Business France, and also from French Tech. So can you explain who you are and also what you are doing? Like Sujeong or Aymeric and Jerome or Isabelle, like who gonna introduce first? Sujeong or?
Yes, sure. Hello, everyone. Yes, can you hear me well?
Yes.
Okay, great. So thank you for inviting this wonderful session in the evening in Korea, and probably of course this is morning or noon in Paris, right? So anyway, my name is Korean name is Sujeong, and I'm Crystal Lee. So I'm working at KISED, which is the public organization, and it is the largest organization supporting for the Korean startups. So, and also I'm in charge of global expansion program in KISED, and especially I'm in charge of the K Startup Center in KISED. So K Startup Center is it is kind of very largest platform, so supporting the Korean startups who aim to go to the global market. So I'm gonna explain more details if you want to ask me any questions. So this is just my short intro. So yeah, and who will be the next? So anyway, I'm Crystal. So feel free to ask me any questions regarding the program and what government is doing for the startups.
Thank you for this. And Aymeric, can you explain you and what is the HTC?
Yeah, of course. Annyeonghaseyo, everyone. So my name is Aymeric, and I'm working for HTC Paris. For those who are not familiar, HTC Paris is a business school based in Paris, and we are the #1 business school in Europe. And more specifically, I'm working for the HTC Paris incubator. So we currently support about a bit more than 100 startups at any given time. And we have a space in Paris when we provide acceleration to startups from every single industry that we can. And our big approach is really to connect as much as possible founders between themselves and founders with experts in different skills and industries, so that we believe that the knowledge exchange between all of those people is the best way to boost those startups and to help founders grow personally.
Yes, thank you. And the next panelist is Jerome. Also, you can explain yourself.
Hi everyone, 안녕하세요. I'm Jerome Julliand, so I'm heading Business France here in Korea. Business France is a French government agency. We have two main missions. One is to help the French companies to go abroad and so to develop their market here in Korea. But we are present in 80 countries. And we support the foreign investors to come to France. So as a startup in Korea, if you have a project for France, we are your entry gate for the French market to explain to you how to address it and how to settle in France.
Thank you. And then last is our familiar face, Isabelle, that you can explain.
Hey everyone, yeah, maybe I actually don't need to introduce myself. So I'm Isabelle, I'm the Vice President of French Tech Seoul, and so as you probably all know what French Tech Seoul is, but still I'm gonna give you a little bit of an introduction. So we're basically just a community of like-minded people that really wish to bridge the Korean startup and innovation ecosystem to the French one. And French Tech is actually a brand that is owned by French government. So we're directly and officially linked to the French government and all of the different French tech initiatives all over the world. So we are the community in Seoul, and we have a board of like 10 volunteers plus Sukaina, and I know that some people from our community and board are here today as well. And we're not the only French tech community. There is more than 100 communities all over the world in different cities. So yeah, happy to hear any of your question. Happy to know what are your projects in Korea and in France. And yeah, feel free to ask me anything.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, so now I'm gonna ask to Sujeong first. Like, what kind of startups usually fit in the KISED program?
For the KISED program?
Yes.
Yeah, so actually K-Startup Center is a bit different from the other like existing global expansion program because we are focusing on the specific sector. So in terms of the KC Paris, so we have sourced Korean startups from the like cultural contents and and the other sector is which is very has been the popular from the last year from the COVID-19 with on tech, which doesn't have to. So any Korean startups who is like dealing with that kind of service or platform without any like close contact with the people. So those the industries we have been looking for, and we found that we have sourced the very like amazing companies, and just recently we have selected very good promising startups. So actually, and also the KISED program, not only Paris, because Paris, the program is the first time this year, but it was started from the 2019, and the other sector we are focusing on for the each country is, for example, for the Stockholm, we're focusing on AI and green industry, and on the other hand, like for the Israel, so we are focusing on the bio and medical sector, and also kind of HSL like so which is like the other like kind of like defense industry. In that way, we just designated like two sectors for each KISED center, and accordingly we source the relevant startups. And the next step is the accelerator selected for each country. They just like reviewed all the startup and selected the best companies which are very suitable for their market. So that is one of the difference of the KISED, and that's why we have selected the startups in terms of those sectors. So yeah, so we're very happy to select have the startups according to the sectors. So even though it was a bit hard to reach out to the companies, especially for those sectors, but we believe this is one of the big advantage we have in that kind of sector focus. Yeah.
I see. Yeah, then what is the benefit for startups when they are taking the KISED program?
First of all, they can have very like intensive program because they until last year, whenever we run the program, because KISED has operated like global program over 10 years, and every time we run the program, many startups came from the different sectors. So that is why sometimes some of them are not very like they don't feel like it is not that concentrated. So that's why the first benefit for the KISED program is many startups are from the very similar industry and similar service. So that is why they can have more synergy and kind of like, and they can learn from the other startup companies. So I think that is one of the benefit. And also the other one is because we have we not only for the one single KISED center, but also we actually totally we have run like including the New York, which is the new one, which was included just recently. We just opened 8 centers in total, so including the Paris. So that is why the KISED companies can benefit from all the centers, the program, and the other like network if they want. So just first step they have to do is to join the program, and then they also can reach out to the other center if they want to learn their ecosystem, or if they want to reach out to the investors there, because we believe that Korean startups, they do not aim to the only one market in global market. So that is why using the all 8 centers resources, they can expand their market and service much well. So I think that is another benefit for them. So, and we are very ready to so provide all the necessary support for our KISED alumni and the companies. So yeah, that is another one.
Yeah, I hope so many Korean startups can grab that opportunity. Also with a great network and all over around the world. Yeah. Then next, my question I'm gonna go to Aymeric. Yeah. So I think you see the many foreign startups who try to do their business in France, and what are their difficulties and how do they solve this?
Thank you, Freya. Well, I think it's quite a broad question, so it's interesting to differentiate a bit when we help companies who are actually both helping a business and helping founders and individuals in their prospects. So if you start with the companies, splitting it between B2Cs and B2Bs company, I think the main and the most obvious hurdle for B2C companies moving to another market is really apprehending the changes in behavior in the local environment. I mean, whatever the scale you want to take, if you want to differentiate, behavior at a European level, at a French level, or at a Western market level. So that's already a first challenge to tackle in terms of product, sales strategies, and once you have identified, those markets, a lot of the work after that is really on localization of product, redesigning. I mean, in design, modifying the UX, and so on. So I think that's one of the very first and very obvious topic on which you can get really quick win when you start talking with a local designer, people who are local marketing experts. And I think that's something that whatever the country you're coming from and whatever the country you're going to, you absolutely need those types of advice. And even if it's less evident, but for B2B businesses, you still have those problematics of still selling to a different market, and so those strategies, marketing, UX issues are still relevant. And in addition to that, I would say that in B2B businesses, you still need to understand the value chain of the industry you're in and the differences, like for example, the difference between coming from Korea with a lot of extremely big consortium that would shape the business landscape of an industry, coming to some country in which some industry might be a bit more fragmented and the business chain might be a bit longer, or with a bit more stakeholders. So really understanding that value chain, knowing who are the key players that can influence other, like is it the brand at the end of the value chain that can influence their upstream, or is it the raw material or the very upstream companies that have a very big impact on what's being shaped and produced afterwards. So I think for that, you really need to connect with local industry experts that can really give you the lay of the land, and so you can integrate those kind of mapping. And then you can connect, you can use that mapping to know who are the decision makers that you need to connect to in priority, and where you need to go. If you want to change an industry, where is your entry point? And that is like something you cannot Google what's the entry point for the automobile industry in France. You need to talk with people there and people who have decades of experience, and that can really put you in the right direction. And to talk about the second aspect, well, when you're moving to another country or opening a new country, you're also building your personal network as a founder, as an entrepreneur. So you need to be there and to also know local funders or local government representative, professional organization, and you need to become connected with those people so that you receive the knowledge and the connection might be useful to you and to get known by the local ecosystem. And likewise, that's why you have to, that's why French Tech or French Tech Seoul in particular will be super useful. If I were a French founder moving to Korea, that would be one of my first landing point, because I need this first ecosystem to at least get myself known by the very first circle before getting introduced to additional ones. And similarly, if you're moving from Seoul to Paris, you need this landing platform that can give you this first community with which you can exchange before moving to and developing your business.
Yeah, so I can say, so this is like a French Tech, the community is a real help for Korean startups or foreign startups to get in the a French market. So I have another question to you. Is the Paris also can you explain 3 things why the French market is really attractive for Korean startups? What is the good chance for them? Do you think what kind of business is popular or promising in France?
Okay, so I apologize in advance to Jerome for stealing what might be his specialty, but I will try to answer at my level. I think for France, it's really interesting to look at it from a very descending funnel approach. That first, if you want to get into Europe, your choices will already be reduced to either going to France or to Germany. So that's the very first, approximation. And once you start, approaching the French ecosystem, well, first thing, I think there are a lot of similarities between France and Korea, and it's a jump that can be quite natural, both in terms of sizes of country, let's say industry specialization. So I think it's quite a natural fit to go there compared to going directly to the US or to China. And once you go to the layer underneath, well, as a startup, the French startup and investment ecosystem is really in a very good dynamic since the past 5 or 7 years. The amount being raised by VC fund in France and startups in France has been really skyrocketing in the past 5 years or more at least. And now we are, so we are above Germany in terms of number of VC fund rounds. So, as a startup, you can both benefit from private support, private money, private investment, and that's once again why La French Tech exists today, that the government support today for startups, even foreign startups coming to France. The French government is very practical minded regarding startup matters today. And so if you are coming to France and saying that you're going to create job and create opportunities for the local industry, you get a lot of support for that. And I think the French government has really done a lot of very innovative initiatives and is pushing a lot of resources toward helping the startup industry. And at the very, let's say, at the third level, well, if you're working and innovating in some specific industry, I think France can be quite an obvious choice in our strong points. If you are working in the luxury industry, obviously the French reputation and French big brands and startups in the cosmetics or fashion industry, for example, the interest in self-evident. If you're working in the food and agricultural industry, well, we have one of the most robust value chain and industry in the world, from the upstream to the to brands and retailers. If you're working in cultural content, that's no chance that KISED chose cultural content industry for France, because we have both strong cultural, let's say, cultural supplier, cultural content producers in France, and a huge market of cultural content consumption and using it as a relay toward other countries. I think we might be probably one of the biggest. I think France is, for example, the second biggest manga and manhwa consumer in the world. I think K-pop music in Europe might have France as one of its biggest markets. So it's kind of a blend of the local consumer market being very open to some industries and very let's say demanding. So if your product can work in France with French consumers, for example, if you are doing luxury product, well, it's a very good sign that you can keep on exporting it in other countries in Europe and the world. And on the other side, there are very strong companies in those industries, very big corporation or very or smaller companies that can help you be partners in this market. So this combination, I believe, makes it a very evident choice for startups. You're on mute.
Your mic.
And you are still muted, Freya. I believe, Isabelle, if you can unmute someone directly.
Unfortunately, I cannot unmute someone.
Now,
yeah, okay.
Okay, sorry. I think already I turned on this. Yeah, so I'm gonna thank you for what you are talking, Aymeric. And then now I want to ask to the Jerome. So I think you know very well. So for the global market, also the trading, and Paris is the most important market in Paris in France. So how easy is it from Paris to actually go to the rest of countries or rest of regions?
Yes, okay. I'm gonna do a little geography here. Maybe it will be simpler with a map, but I don't know if you know France very well, but you're right. Paris is really the capital, and it gathers most of the activity, but still you have a lot of clusters and supply chain and customer centers outside of Paris, and you need to reach them. So it's quite easy, actually. Even if France is quite bigger than Korea, it's maybe 5 times the superficie of South Korea, but you need very few time to go to the other cities with bullet trains called TGV. Actually, we sold some TGV in Korea, so you know our trains quite well. And you can go, for example, to the biggest city like Lyon, Bordeaux, Lille, Strasbourg in less than 2 hours from city center to city center. You can go to the southern city of France, Marseille, the third city in the south of France, in 3 hours and a half. For Toulouse, which is the aerospace city, so if you are in this field, you need to go there. From Paris, it's either by airplane. There is also, it's 1 hour by a plane, and there are many options to go there. With a specific route called La Navette from the airport Orly in the south of Paris. You have one flight every hour, so it's quite easy to reach anywhere in France. But more importantly, you can reach Europe from Paris. You can reach the many capitals by train. You can go to Brussels, you can go to Amsterdam, you can go to London in less than 3 hours with the Eurostar and the tunnel. You can go to Geneva, and then obviously you can go to any other capitals with direct flight and many options every day. That I'm speaking during a normal period. With the COVID-19, the number of flights is quite reduced, but still you can reach easily any capital.
Oh yeah, so it's a really like geographically and strategically, it's a really good like the place and location. So many people or many startups they easily can build and expand their business from France and also the local regions. Yeah. Thank you. And I'm gonna ask to Isabelle. Yeah. So the French Tech Soul is a kind of bridge between Korea and France in the startup ecosystem. So I wonder how Korean startups or other entities can use this opportunity, as like Aymeric told us about the community, like helping for getting a startup visa, like over networking or fundraising and so on.
Yeah, of course. So as we said, we are really a community. It means that we don't offer any type of service. Being a member is totally free. But the whole point of us is really to create this network and community of people that are like founders or even people in corporates in Korea or in France, corporate venture, like VC, or so other accelerator. So actually here, this is what we do. Like this type of an event is exactly the purpose of our community. It's to bring out people that are in France, people that are in Korea, people that are able to help you and just gather in one place. All of those type of people give you more resources to understand each other and give you tools to, first of all, like connect with each other, kind of know each other. And like once you become a member, you have access to our own like Kakao or Slack group, for those that know better Slack than Kakao. And the whole point is to gather, like we have soon to be over 300 members that are just on the Slack, and that can like, you know, you can just, okay, I have this type of question, and you're like, yeah, I can ask to the whole community, or you ask us, and then we put you in contact with other people. And so that's how we help like French startups that are coming here and they're like kind of wondering what's happening. They are looking for some contacts, and then we just ask the community, does anyone know something? Can we put you in contact? And then this is how it works. And we do the same for Korean startup, of course. They're interested into, you know, just France being in contact with HEC because they're interested in it. They want to we're going to put them in contact with business friends, or we're going to put them in contact with other accelerator in France that we have partnership with. I know that like Kian is here, for example. We are also building like, so yeah, it's just the whole power of network, first of all. So whatever you have a question, whenever you need to be connected with someone, then you can just reach out to the community. You can become a member and you can have access to all of the events. You can have access to, now we have some podcasts that are online. So yeah, we just have a lot of activities going on. And the whole point is that anytime you need something, just ask, and we probably will know somehow someone that knows someone that knows someone that knows someone that is able to help you. So yeah.
So great. Yeah, I can see so many resources in the French Tech Soul community. So I think kind of the easy ways to connect with people from France or international ways in this community. Yeah. So, and also I was wondering then like how like about the activities for French Tech in France. Like, do you know some news from them?
Yeah, so as I explained, French Tech is like, we're not the only one. That's not like, we're just one among many. But so in France, French Tech is actually, it's government that is organizing this. And then under that label, you have everything that is related to the startup ecosystem, the French startup ecosystem. So around that, you're gonna have all of like, you know, funds or grants, a lot of initiative. You have like, for example, French Tech Central. It's like a big place in Station F where you can, as a startup, have access to French institution and administration, which I guess you can know that is very difficult to meet. But then here you can have like very, very easy access just on asking online to people that are there just for you as a startup to help you on your own. It can be any administrative issue or the life of your company, for example, or even like open innovation program, working with the government, having access to data. Like everything is very, very big, and you have more than 35 administration that are in that area. So it's a physical space, but it's also on something online. So it's not just for Paris startup, but it's also from startup that are like in all France. As I said, we have grants. There is also the French Tech Visa that is very interesting for you. There is the French Tech Visa for startups that want to enter France, and it's a very interesting type of visa. Maybe Jerome later can give a bit more information on it. I actually give the first French Tech Visa for a startup back in my days to Korean startups. So that was pretty interesting. And we have this for startups. We have this for talents. So people that needs to be employed in certain French startup, but also for investors. So yeah, there is just a lot of different initiatives for French startup, but also for talents and people that want to come in France. And of course, there is the French Tech communities. So either in France, a lot of different city, because yes, Paris is not the only city in France. And as Jerome said, we have a lot of big cluster, a lot of good places where actually you would be better off, depending on your business, to be not in Paris, but to be in those different cities, because this is where you have huge HQ, you have huge ecosystem around this. So for example, tools for I'm gonna say Airbus and all of those aerospace. I was missing my words. But also, like, if you want to go to Lyon, you have a huge medtech and biotech cluster. So yeah, there is a lot of different spaces where you actually might want to be. And there's also all the other French territories outside of France in Europe. We have there like a lot of different communities that are even like in Pacific Ocean or near the US, or like we have a lot of different stuff that are happening elsewhere, and also in all of the other communities like us. So it means like if you're going somewhere to like, I don't know, Vietnam, I can put you in contact with someone in Vietnam who's there to help you connect with what's happening over there. So it's very, very, very interesting. yeah, I think I did everything. I said everything about the French Tech initiatives.
Yeah, it's a really, really nice. I wanted something in there. And I want to ask Sujeong. Sujeong?
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, can you give us some tips for startups? Because you see many startups from Korea and helping them to go to the global market. So, when they want to expand their business globally, then what they need to prepare and also further their mindset.
Yes, okay. So first of all, actually in terms of like the startup support, from 2008, KISED has like fostered and supported over 40,000 like entrepreneurs and startup companies. And among them, actually in terms of global expansion, we have supported over 500, and it is and if we include all the like programs and events, it would be like over 1,000. So anyway, in Korea, in KISED, in terms of domestic commercialization and the business in Korea, we have a lot of experience, and we're already like give the support the step by step. So from the very like early stage to the growth stage, and like that structure, my team is also working for the startup companies. From we reach out to them to their like different states. So that is why if they want to go to the global market, they need to see themselves which stage they are now, because the program we are offering them is a bit different. So if they see themselves they are too early to like do business in the overseas market, they need to like do some market survey, and they also need to be advised from the local global experts. So that is why for them we are running the global acceleration program. It is also called GAPS. So from the GAPS, we are also working with a lot of international accelerators, and this is from the GAPS they can benefit from a lot of things, so including how to introduce themselves to the like global like the investor and or the like partners, so which is too hard if they do not have any experience. So this GAPS program is prepared for that kind of very early stage companies. So, and also from this year, we include the support for their like pitch training. So we're gonna offer some workshop for them to speak in front of the like a lot of global like partners well. And so because sometimes Korean startup companies are have some like fear to speak in English, so even though their service and their technology is very like potential and very high, they're like hesitate to like talking in English. So that is why we also help them in terms of the kind of speaking as well. And also because we are under the government, we also offer a lot of like government grants. So because they need to do some, they are like looking forward to raising the funds. So that is why from the GAPS, so we also provide some financial support. So and also we believe that a lot of like competition and the event in the world is very helpful for them to expose themselves. So that is why we support them to attend a lot of event like the Slush, Web Summit, and the other very like famous global event for the startup companies. We help them to join the event. So in order to have a lot of networks, so that is gaps, and that is for the early stage companies. And I'm gonna skip for the K Startup Center. And the other thing for the like Korean startups who are looking for the investor, we run the like fundraising program for those companies who are looking for the funds from the overseas capital. So it was quite new program, started from the last year, but we have very like amazing the result from the program. So this is actually focusing only for the like investor relations. So we do some like we provide some connection with the investor, so including the PE and the angel group or just VCs as well. So, and in order to have the very like valid the discussion with the investor, we help them to so make some like investor the pitch deck. And also the main key point of this program is to offer the investor the meeting, so matchmaking program. So that is why we started this program late last year, but some of the companies did a lot of achievements even just within the 3 months. So some of them just like reach out to a lot of like distribution channel from this program, even though they are not investor, and they just sign some like contract to do some POC project with the like very large the companies in Europe. And also some companies also reach some very strong investor, and they are just discussing to close the deal. So in that way, this program is ready for the Korean startups to directly assess to the like investors. So in that way, we have offered so many programs according to their like stage and according to like their like the readiness. So I hope they utilize this kind of diverse programs. And before that, they need to know which program is necessary for them to join. So we do not offer just single program, because we know that startup companies are too different and their sectors are too wide and diverse. So and we also have a lot of programs, and especially for the Russia, we also like made the program for the Korean and Russia exchange program. So and also we are ready for the overseas, the foreign startups to come to Korea to experience the Korean market. So anyway, the first step they have to do is just contact KISED and my teams and to get advice which program they need to apply. So, and we're gonna give very kind answer to them. Yeah,
it's very nice. So there are many programs for startups to go to the global market. I also have a last one question to Jerome, but after my question, and then I want to hear more questions from audience. So, also, Jerome, the business in France is kind of a culture in Korea. So how business in France can help Korean startups, like in terms of legal service, establishing their business, like cooperation and patent, and or like a trading.
Thank you. Indeed, we are like Kotra, and I think Kotra is here. I think I've seen Frédéric Claveau connected, so he's also a great contact to have for you guys if you are looking to expand your business in France. Actually, we are here to help the startups to land in France if they want to set up shop in France. Okay. For the business development, I think it's good to work with KISED or with Kotra to have a market survey and to identify their business partners in France. But once you did that and you know that you have a market and you want to set up shop in France, then we can help you quite easily to land. If you want to become an expert in France as well, it's possible. I just pasted a link on the live chat. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's called welcometofrance.com. And there you can get all the information you need, like for the visas, for housing, or to register your company. You have a lot of contacts as well. And of course, you can get in touch with us regarding anything you need, and we will connect you either with French Tech, either with other government agencies in France, and also with the regions, because the regions, not only in Paris, outside of Paris, if you want to set up shop in the aerospace industries and you want to go in the southwest part of France, we can connect you with Occitanie region, and they will help you and they will give you incentives to come to the region. So we can connect you with this development agency in the regions. Coming back maybe to the French Tech visa, it's a very interesting thing. If you set up shop as a startup in France, you will get a 4-year visa for you and your children, wife and children. So it's quite easy to get it if you have registered your startup in France, and we can help you with that. So it's a very interesting visa, and you have a no-brainer for 4 years, and it can also be extended if need be. Yes, that's one. And also I wanted to tell you that there is a very good event in France coming in a few weeks. It's called Vivatech. It's from 16th to 19th of June. I think Kotra is doing a delegation. I'm not going too deep in that because I don't know if they still do it, but you can register online. It's a digital event. There is a little of presence possible in Paris, but it's quite limited, but you can do everything online for this edition, and it's quite okay. I mean, the entry fee is under 150 euros, so it's quite cheap for 4 days of good networking and good information on the French market.
Yeah, thank you for giving that information. Yes,
I'm going to paste the link of Vivatech in the chat, okay? So everyone got it.
Yeah. So now, is there any question from audience side?
I think Robert had a question earlier on. Can you ask it again? Because I lost it in the chat, Robert.
Yeah.
I think it was something about connecting with Korean startup ready to go global. Was it?
Can you have somewhere a list of a Korean startup ready to be global? Like even only stage ones? Everybody on the channel, so you can answer for this.
I think maybe Sujeong, you would perhaps.
Yes, absolutely. We have a lot of lists. As I said, we already on our database, we have a list of over 40,000 companies. And of course, we need to check how many of them are ready for the global market. But yeah, so if the H2 Capital has any interest in investing in the Korean startups or source the Korean startups to discuss some potential collaboration or investment, we'd like to discuss directly with you so that we can find some startup companies who are suitable for your needs. Yeah, so yes, we have.
Yeah.
And so just to add on that, I guess also connecting with people like me or Jerome, because usually they're gonna come to us at some point if they're really interested in going abroad. And if they didn't find us yet, there's also a lot of tools, and I'm gonna do the minute where I do the promo of one of our members that has a very good search engine tool to find out Korean startup. So you might want to check out. I think he was there earlier, but he left. If you want to check out with Jordan, he may be the one you want to learn a bit more about the startups here in Korea and even their level of investment. And yeah, so that was the minute where I promote our member.
If I may add something about the global, the startup, Korean startup who wants to go global, you can also work with the Korean network. In France, we have a lot of investors already. You have Naver, you have Samsung, you have SK, you have many investors that can be of help for those startups as well. And if you are already working with them in Korea, maybe they're interested in to bring you in the French market as well. So I think it can be quite useful. Your mic, Freya, I think your mic is off.
Oh. Okay, thank you for letting me know that. Yeah, I think so. There are many ways to know about this if we want to know. So I think it's there great advice and great info from your guys. Any other questions? Or I want to ask one to Aymeric. Then nowadays so many foreigners they want to get into France. So when they went to France first, how does HEC help them also related with Station F, what they can do at the first time?
Well, that's almost, let's say, a philosophical question of why do you need an incubator or any type of startup program like that. So, today you can just go online and find a lot of resources to do most things. If you want to create a startup, you can find a lot of advice there. If you want to go to a specific country, the French government and other governments have a lot of resources, so you can find a lot of information everywhere. So that's why you can wonder why you would need to go through specific programs. And what we believe is that the value that you get when you join an incubator or a community is really everything that you cannot find online. So that's why we really believe into connecting people together. And our job really as a manager of the incubator is really to connect the right startups and founders with the right experts and the right entrepreneurs, and to have them exchange and really give feedback and share information that you could not get everywhere. That is some kind of personal experience feedback that is really very specific information that is relevant for your situation. And this is completely how we designed the program at HEC Paris. And so our two main communities are really a community of founders and a community of experts, both alumni from HEC Paris and from elsewhere. And what we do daily is connect the two of them together. So we have about 400 experts in our base that provide a bit above 100 hours of meeting available for startup every week. And so every week we have our now. So I said we support a bit more than, we actively support a bit more than 100 startups. So you have about 200 or 300 founders which are requesting this meeting. And really every day, the job is either to directly recommend connections, saying, oh, you have this problem? Well, I know this entrepreneur who also was in your situation 6 months ago, and I will be the best person to answer. Or you want to go and launch a new product in a new industry. Well, we have this person who spent 20 years working in this industry at C-level position, and he will be able to tell you if what you are doing is relevant for this situation, for this industry, and if so, well, who should you contact, what should be your strategy, because every industry is different, every market is different, every country is different, and really what we provide and what I think is really the most difficult to find is this kind of personal connection and this kind of network building that you would get through us or through other similar programs.
I see. Yeah, So I think it's a network is really important, networking. And so like I think is I will ask the last one to Isabelle. So because I'm wondering to know about the upcoming events. So how is it going on? So for a good summit 2021, how is it going on?
Well, we're busy. We're very busy to prepare something, but it's gonna be it's gonna be great. It's really gonna be great. So for those who don't know, French Tech, we with the French Korean Chamber of Commerce, we decided for the second time to work on the Tech for Good Summit between France, Korea, and also beyond. So for this year, it's going to be online, of course, over 3 days. We're going to have panel, keynote, we're going to have pitch contest, and it's going to be actually on Air Meet. So the extended version of this. But then the whole point is that outside of the kind of panel, where you're of course going to be able to hear a lot of great speakers and ask them questions and stuff, you're also going to be able to network between each other, like in the lounge. You're going to have different partners and startups that are going to be there that you're going to meet with. So it's also going to be, we really want to focus on the fact that it's going to be, of course it's online, but you can network and meet people the same way as an offline event. So it's going to be from 10 to 12 May. So it's soon. And yeah, I can post in the link the like Eventbrite, the registration and all the program. We're starting to announce the program from today. We announced for the first day, we're going to announce for the next day, and really I think we're going to have great panels, lot of people that are joining us from all over the world, and we're going to have great Korean and French startups. Actually, if the pitch contest is still open, so we are interested in showcasing Korean and French startups that are on impact and tech for good topic. And with actually Business Friends help for the winners, we're gonna be able to help you on your international impulsion and like submission to help you discover Korean market, but also French market on the other side if you're a Korean startup. So yeah, if that's something that interests you, don't hesitate to talk to me after. And I see that actually already some people already started to put some links in the comments. So yeah, see you there. I'm really excited about this, so much that I can't really sleep at night. But yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
That's great. Yeah, so now just I can see the questions from audience. Is it available to answer now or already answered? So I have the one question is like France is an attractive market, but is it not very accessible to Korean startups? What do they need in order to succeed in France? Yeah, so you can answer anyone.
I think we gave part of the answer in your previous question, Freya. I think the main type of support that's useful is really getting direct connection there and to have this kind of local support platform. I mean, I think Jerome could provide the alternative support through government systems and really getting, because there are also, especially if you want to go outside of Paris, every region in France will have some kind of support program to help companies settle into those locations. So really finding the right mix of entrepreneurial and ecosystemic relationship and support and of government contact is really what will be the key of a successful.
Yes, maybe what I would add is, okay, every country is different in terms of administration and everything. This can be, if you have the right connection, if you ask the good questions, if you get in touch with the government agency, we will help you. And this is really a no-brainer, I should say. The problem, the most important thing is your market and your product and your offer. So you need to really think hard of what value do you bring, and is it compatible with the French consumer or the French industry that you want to target. This is actually, I'm more helping to do business development with French companies in Korea. And I'm always saying to them, okay, every market is difficult, but you need to adapt. You need to understand the needs of the market and to adapt. And if you do that before going to France, before set up shop there, if you are well prepared, then okay, the rest will follow. But the first thing is to understand your market and maybe to adapt your product or your offer to the market.
I see. And then the another question is about the ATC program. So maybe Aymeric already answered for this. And then the next question, I think this is the last question, is like, I'm not sure this question is a proper one here, but may I ask how familiar is the French population with online shopping? Are people using more web-based or like app shopping channels?
Well, I think Jerome already answered with a specific figure, but I think one interesting difference between the two countries would be that, so I'm not that familiar with the Korean ecosystem, so correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the French market regarding online shopping apps may be a bit more fragmented than it is in Korea, and you will have many more applications, and so the competition is a bit more, is both more fierce, but it's also that there is no one big app that completely monopolizes the market and against which you cannot fight, and that if you come to France, there will be a shopping app for very niche needs and very niche behavior, and that as a smaller incumbent, you have a better chance to enter this market because you can definitely be into this very ultra specialized and ultra niche approach and really find your target market in France, validate it, and then keep on growing.
I see.
Yeah, I would say that the market is not as developed as the Korean one, especially the solution for logistics to get your delivery. It's a bit more complicated in France. It's getting better, but in Korea, it's quite incredible. When you arrive here, you've got your products in a few hours. It's quite crazy, but it has an effect. In Korea, we think that now in 2021, it represents around 30% of the retail is online. Is e-commerce or mobile commerce. In France, it's around 10%. So see, we have room for growing and for also new companies in that field. So yes, I think it's the right market. You have opportunities there.
So nice. So nice.
If I could just add on this, it's like, as Jerome and Aymeric said, it's like, it's growing. There is no like big player, except maybe Amazon. But you don't have any like French or European solution that are big on that. And because of the logistic issue, not a lot of people actually use it. But it would not be because they are not familiar with the tool. It's just mostly because it's not going to be as convenient as is it here. And so there is a lot of room for improving. And I'm also going to say it would be the same in every European country. It's not just France. It's going to be the same in Germany. It's going to be the same in UK. It's going to be the same in Italy or in UK. So it would be also something that you need if you're launching yourself in this type of structure. you really need to think about the logistic behind all of it, because the structure is totally going to be totally different from here. It's not going to be as convenient. It's not going to be as easy as here. And it's going to be way more fragmented. So that's also something that really you need to think. It's going to be totally different than what you have in mind here on how to penetrate the market. So not just in terms of competition, but also in terms of like actually making it. So yeah, that's just my little part.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for all kind of grateful, helpful insight from you guys. And thank you for like attending here. And then now we're gonna go to the like a networking. So if you want, if you have time. And so thank you for today. So I hope you have a great time, great evening. Thank you.
So yeah, just to conclude on this, I'm gonna like stop the session. Oh, maybe Zukaina, you wanna come in and do the little.
Yeah, I'm just gonna talk for a second, 1 second. So thank you all for participating in this session and asking many interesting questions. So right now we're gonna go to the second part of the event, which is the networking. So you're gonna see some virtual tables and you can see the faces of the people that are there. So you can join them and ask them maybe more questions if you have some, or just have, you know, a casual discussion. So see you in the lounge. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, bye.
I'll add
Bye,
this
everyone.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.